Hi, I'm Captain Kirk, and I'm not Captain Kirk, I'm Jake, and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about why Bitcoin is doomed. I'm telling you my personal amateur opinion. I don't have any expertise in finance. Do your own research. I'm not responsible if you screw it up. Now, I have invested in cryptocurrencies in the past, so this isn't a video that's the perspective of a bitter loser, although I probably am a bitter loser as well. Do let me know if you've got any comments about Bitcoin down below. We can get a bit of a discussion going. Anyway, let's get on with the video. So Bitcoin recently surged to about $17,000, and that's actually a 50% increase in value over the last week alone. It actually amounts to about a 20 times increase. That's 2,000% since this time last year. And like a lot of people, I invested in Bitcoin with the intent of making a little bit of money. I also invested in a cryptocurrency called Vertcoin, which I might do another video on in the future. Now, I made about £2,000 profit, which I extracted and is safe in my bank account. And that is the problem in a nutshell. So prices of commodities generally rise through a principle called supply and demand. So say it's a hot day and you want to buy an ice cream from the local shop, but they've only got a couple in stock, and everybody rushes to the store to buy some ice cream. The shop can charge more for the ice cream because the demand for the ice cream has driven up the price. Now imagine that it's a cold day, but there's a rumour going round that there's a heat wave in a few days and you could make some money by buying ice creams. And every local shop rushes to buy ice creams, which pushes up the price. Now in this case, the price is rising due to an increase in demand, but the demand is driven by speculation and greed rather than an actual need for that amount of ice creams. And this is basically known as a bubble. If the warm weather never arrives, then everyone who bought ice cream will lose money because there's no demand and they're stuck with an oversupply. In other words, the bubble bursts. Now, the situation I've described about the bursting bubble is exactly what I think is going on with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's price should increase because it's a useful currency, it's decentralized, all the advantages that people who support Bitcoin will tell you. Most people, even Bitcoin investors and supporters, realize that the price increase is the result of a bubble, which is due to the hype and the expectation that Bitcoin will never stop increasing in value. I saw one Facebook advert on my Facebook, obviously, which said that Bitcoin is expected to exceed $400,000 by 2020, and based on the opinions of a market expert, which is rubbish. I can see how that calculation was performed. They've taken the increase this year and they've extrapolated that to 2020. Just to try and get people to invest in Bitcoin. People obviously don't want to miss out on this venture, making huge sums of money in this growth that apparently will never end. People are greedy, so everybody's investing to try and make their millions. Now, I sympathise enormously. I missed out in the past. In 2009, 2010, I tried to buy £100 worth of Bitcoins, but I was a little bit scared by the process because at that point it wasn't very easy. You had to sort of trust that your money was going into the right place, and it was quite a complicated process, as it, to be honest, I think still is. But if I had bought £100 worth of Bitcoins in 2009, and crucially if I'd kept them, which is actually quite unlikely, I would be worth approximately $24 million now. So yeah, I think it's safe to say I'm keen not to miss any money-making ventures in the future. But let me tell you, the bubble will end. It could take 5 years, it could take 10, it could happen tomorrow. So one of the golden rules with dealing with any financial instrument is that when your neighbour starts investing, it's time to remove your investment. And with Bitcoin, we're really at the point where not only is your neighbour investing, but your neighbour's cat is investing too. And the growth we're seeing is exponential. It's increasing day on day at ridiculous proportions. This is exactly the time when professional investors remove their investments. Now, if you want a historical example of a bubble, just go and look up the dot-com bubble of the, I think, mid to late 90s. And also, if you want an even earlier example, and it's quite a good one, you want to look up tulip mania. This is basically when, I think in something like the 1600s, there was a fashion for buying tulips, and everybody bought tulips because they thought they were going to go up in value. And then predictably, there was a dramatic sudden price crash and loads of people lost a load of money. Now, the hype we're seeing around Bitcoin is also driven by the news coverage. Every day on the BBC News website there's an article saying that Bitcoin's broken a new record. Now, the BBC have been pretty fair, and a handful of articles have talked about the negatives of Bitcoin, and maybe they've even been a little bit too negative. They've sort of interviewed market experts who've said that Bitcoin is doomed to failure, and they've also covered the fact that governments are worried about Bitcoin because it's unregulated, also the fact that it's probably not easy to tax. But yesterday there was a BBC News article about 3 people who bought Bitcoin in the past, invested and made a lot of money. These were people that were about 30 years in age. One of them had made a bit of money, but they didn't tell us how much. Another person had made enough money, about £100,000, to start a business. And the last person had made a 6-figure amount that was enough for them to retire. Not a very balanced report, I don't think. I think that's going to mislead a lot of people, and if people invest on the basis of an article like that, they could stand to lose a lot of money. I really think that articles like that and this sort of general hype is feeding the problem, and I think the media really needs to cool down on their reporting of Bitcoin. So yes, in the short and even the medium term, Bitcoin could continue to rise, and some people during that time will make a lot of money. But when the bubble bursts, people will lose money. It's as simple as that. And the later you are into this game, the more likely you are to lose money. Now, nobody knows when this price collapse is going to occur. Anybody who says to you that they do know is lying or self-deceiving, because nobody knows. And if somebody's prediction happens to coincide with when it does actually collapse, that's called chance. It's not knowledge. You couldn't possibly know when Bitcoin is going to collapse. But as I said earlier, Bitcoin is going to collapse. So how late you jump onto this bandwagon, if you intend to, is up to you. I'm not going to advise you either way. But I do want to give you a tiny bit of advice, which is that if you are going to invest in Bitcoin, actually invest is the wrong word. It is gamble. You are gambling with money if you put it into Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. If you're going to do that, you should only gamble what you can afford to lose. Don't put your life savings or significant chunks of money into Bitcoin. If you do, you could make a lot of money, but you could also lose your shirt, your entire life savings. So please do not do that. Anyway, I hope this discussion has been useful to you. It's just my personal opinion, as I said. Do let me know down below if you've invested in Bitcoin, or you're a fan of it, or you hate it. I'm really keen to talk about this because I'm really interested in Bitcoin, actually. Thanks for watching this video. Do subscribe if you like Star Trek, Bitcoin, Lego, technology. This channel's going in a funny direction, isn't it? Thanks for watching. See you next time for another video.